Timelines are collapsing. This world is changing fast. How do you know if your timeline is collapsing? And how do you know if your world is shifting for the better or for the worse? Hello, everyone. My name is Ruth. I want to thank you for being here today. We're going to be doing a global shift forecast with a hint of timeline collapsing and timelines arising. I have some information about signs, how you can know if your timeline is collapsing or if a new timeline is arising. So stay tuned for that. Hello, Richard. Welcome. Beautiful sunny day in Maine. It has been gorgeous here this week as well in Virginia. I have noticed there are no chemtrails in our skies. I don't know how it is in Maine, but I have some intel actually for everyone who's interested, and it does involve chemtrails. And it involves some finances as well. And some of this we're going to be doing in our financial prediction update, month of August. It will be in the private membership right after this, but I'll try to share what I can here as well. Hello, Calamity Jane. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome today. Yes, we're going to be doing a look at the matrix. We're going to be looking at the matrix of everyday life, and I've divided it into three areas. Number one, the normies, or what we call the unawake, those that have no clue that this is a spiritual reality, that there are forces of light and dark. They're simply living their ordinary life. It doesn't mean it's bad. They're just living their ordinary life. So we're going to look at the matrix. Is it collapsing in their life? Is a new timeline coming in for them? We're going to be looking at the light worker, and that's just a general term for you and I, those who are growing spiritually, those who are awake and aware. Do we have timelines collapsing? Do we have timelines arising? And then we're going to be looking at the global scale and seeing what Spirit wants to say about something that's ending. We have peace talks happening right now, and it all pinned around the August 1st, the solar flares, the Schumann resonance, higher consciousness coming in, the Lionsgate portal, everything just shifted. And all of a sudden, peace talks come in. Both Simon Parkes has been feeling that this would result in some peace in the area of Europe with the Russia and the Ukraine thing. I have been getting a message every time I look at it that the WAR overseas will be ended. The one with Russia and Ukraine will be ended by September. October and September, it will be ending. So I do hope that this is a new Earth introduction. And so we're going to look at that. Do we have a new Earth coming in? Do we have Nisara and Jasara coming in? Do we have a major timeline shift because of the rays of consciousness in humanity? And then stay to the end. I'll share a little bit of intel, and also we'll look at some signs that our personal timeline is collapsing and arising. So thank you for being here. I have been slowly getting more new subscribers, a little bit here and there. I think YouTube is starting to favor me. It helps for me to put some shorts, those little videos online, and so I think it helps to get into the algorithm. So go ahead. Put your comments in, give me a thumbs up, a subscribe. It just helps me get into the algorithm as a channel and gets me with the big dogs. Brisk, beautiful morning in the 50s. It's been so beautiful these last few mornings. And I'm loving the fact that their skies are either clear or beautiful clouds. I hope our weather is going to balance out. All right, I'm not going to do announcements. I'm just tired of doing announcements. Let's just open up with Spirit. I do want to set an intention, light a candle here to clear the energies. My candle did not light when I tried to light it before, so I'm going to try lighting it again. We invite the presence of Christ's energy to fill this live, and we send out all negative energies that are not for our best and highest good, all bots, all negative AI, all negatively viewing, trying to get my candle lit here, anything that's trying to view us negatively, hinder the light and the truth and clarity of the divine coming through to this world, we just kick it off this channel. We just kick it off this channel. We invite the presence of Christ, truth, and clarity for our best and highest good. And I think I got it. Today we have a little green aventurine stone with me today. It's a stone of abundance. So I'm going to bring that in. All right. Spirit, what can you tell us about the timeline collapse? It's interesting because I'm feeling drawn to pull the card that I usually use for business. The collapse of the matrix, the collapse of everyday life. Spirit, we ask for a general message about, was there a timeline collapse? Is there another timeline arising? What is happening right now on the major matrix? The old matrix versus the new organic new earth. I like to call it a creatrix. Oh, look. The card that flipped out is the Chariot. The Chariot card to me is the timeline shift card. There's two, you can't see it too well, but there's actually like 3 timelines here. 3 heads of a sphinx. And that represents courses or directions for a world, a nation, or a life purpose. So this is, and he's behind it, but he doesn't have any reins, and he's letting the timelines emerge. Interesting that there's 3 on that card. There's usually 2. Spirit, what can you tell us about a timeline shift, a global shift concerning the matrix and the divine blueprint of New Earth? Let's take a look. You're doing a general message here. We have the Hierophant, institutions, organizations, world structures. 3 of Wands, an expansion, okay, or a movement away from something either moving or expanding away, outward. Let's get further clarity on what this is. We've had a major victory in the past victory for the good of humanity. In the center of the reading is the Death card. The Death card is the energy of transformation, but something has to die and then something has to be reborn. And you notice this skull there at the bottom of the Death, but then you also have the flag and you have the city behind him. Look at the city. The city is bright with light and the sun is behind it. The sun represents the golden age, or the age of clarity and new beginnings. So something is birthing on the horizon, but there had to be a death first. And this death is surrounding major corporations and matrix organizations. We're going to get further clarity here. For the future, we have the card of the humanitarian. The Knight of Cups is one of the most gentlest cards in the deck, next to the Knight, the Queen of Cups. Cups represent emotion, cleansing, and higher consciousness. They represent being connected to your inner emotions of love, healing, and peace. And I love this card in the deck, which could be why Spirit brought me to this deck, is because there's 2 little angel cherubims surrounding the cup. So this is the card in this deck of humanitarianism. A military bringing healing to the little ones. So this is one of my favorite cards in this deck. Because normally he's just carrying a cup. He doesn't have angels surrounding the cup. So what is dying? I believe that there's a moving away from big corporations. There's something about energy being moved elsewhere. I want to get further clarity on what this looks like. But as a general overview, there's definitely an expansion, a death happening on the world scale, and then a rebirth. And it's like major organizations are being used to serve humanity. And if they're not serving humanity, I hear the words death wish. Please tell me if you can't hear me. I sort of moved things around. So this is my new setup here. It gave me a little bit more space. Something about if an organization, a nation is not serving the good of humanity, you will collapse. And this is bringing me back to the peace talks that's happening right now in Alaska. Those of you who know, concerning 2 different countries, an R and a U. I don't want to go too much into the details because it's YouTube. We're doing so good. But this RU conflict overseas, all right, it's almost like they're being sat down and said, if you're not going to work for the good of humanity, we're going to end this. We're going to end this. And I don't have much intel on what's happening. Some of you if you feel led to share, you can. We can talk more about it in the financial predictions update too. But something is being changed on the world scale that if you're not going to serve your country, your people, or the world, there is major collapse on your horizon. It's a death wish. It's a death wish. I'm hearing the words, the ego has to go. Sign the contract. These are just things that I'm hearing in my mind. Okay, we're going to go straight to the global scale, and then we're going to do the light worker, and then we're going to do the normie. Spirit's leading me toward the global scale since we tapped into that energy. This is a global shift forecast. So Spirit, what can you tell us about peace on earth? What is happening throughout the matrix? Timeline collapse, peace on earth. Will WARs end in the next few months? Peace on earth, goodwill toward men. Whoa, we have Nisara and Jasara, the sun card coming in. That's also a yes card, a major yes in this deck, because I'm asking about peace on earth. That is tremendous peace. We have military activity connected to the sun card, okay? So that I bring them out like this. They connect to each other. We're going to put one on top, which is the past, one in the middle, like that, right in the middle, and then one below, which is the future. So this is the past. Boss up. The energy of a boss coming in. Leadership. Proper leadership for the world scale. Proper leadership on the world scale. 3 of Cups. High vibrational talks. High vibrational community. High vibrational celebration. This is a celebration. I keep wanting to say peace talks, but the energy of this card is much more than just talk. This is action. This is emotion. This is feeling, celebrating a victory. Peace on earth. 8 of Pentacles. And I'm immediately when I saw this card, I saw infrastructure development. Infrastructure development. Do you want to build your country back up? And I remember last year when I was pulling cards and I was asking, are we in danger of a World War III? And the message that kept coming through several times was, too many nations in this world want a better economy. They're almost selfishly humanitarian. Selfishly, and it's not selfish, okay? But it's almost like that energy of, no, they're looking out for their country. They know if we go into a WW3, that will strip all the progress they made. And it's 11:11 right now. It's 11:11 on that clock. Whew. Okay. Hello, Justin. How are you? Yeah, it's something about a focus on economy and infrastructure. Seeing bridges, buildings, skyscrapers. They want to build their country. They are not interested in the ego of the international bankers anymore. They're not interested in the ego of the dark elite trying to manipulate the stock market. They're not interested in any of it. They have seen Mr. T set an example of setting America first. They have seen other countries such as Saudi Arabia putting their country first. They have seen other nations like the UK trying to squeeze in there and get the energy I get from the UK is they're trying to like, oh, whoops, I think we got some things wrong because we really want to be like the big dogs and we really want to fit in the crowd. The energy of the UK is just like, we got to fit in now. But other countries like Norway and Finland and Germany and Greenland and Iceland, these countries say we want to rise up. Too many of them are interested in their economic status within this world, and it's a good thing. And that is what's going to bring in Nisara and Jasara. That is what is going to bring in. Now we have the military here. So I want to ask Spirit, this is the timeline that's arising. Okay, what is the role of the white hat military? We're not doing any rogue. We're doing the true militaries of this world who are trying and focusing on the humanitarianism. What can you tell us? What role will the military play? Or just what can you tell us about this? Okay, this is definitely white hat. Future humanity, advanced humanity. Corporations. Corporations are being controlled by the white hats, but this isn't corporations. This is the this could be the branches. This is the heads of state that control the military. Let's get further clarity. This is the head. We have the death card in the past, so the military has already, to a major point, come under the control of the white hats. Okay, the world is going through right now the timeline shift that the militaries went through, possibly over the last 10 years. We have the Page of Cups, which is telling me children, and the Nine of Pentacles, which is independence. Okay. I believe Spirit is saying many of the militaries of the world have realized what was happening with the children. They're probably the only ones who truly know the extent of the transferring that was going on around the world. But because there was such a hierarchy, they could not commit the T word, or they couldn't go against their authorities. But this is bringing me back to a white hat authority taking over the big bosses, or becoming the big bosses of military activity. They knew what was happening with the children, and it's sort of like it woke them up. They knew about the transferring. They had the military intelligence. They had everything. They have it all. They have all the information, and they're the ones that woke up. And so they're fighting for freedom and independence. They're leading the way. Can you believe that? And I'm also getting here, not all military is like this. Only key factions that have actually swooped in and become leadership. Okay? Key leaders are working. Key structures in the military. Key bosses, key officers, key admirals, key the Navy's coming in. Definitely a lot of Navy. I'm seeing some Marines. I'm definitely seeing some Marines as well. I'm seeing the conflict that they went and they captured the Dominion machines over that conflict. I'm seeing also the conflict where like 200 Marines went into the tunnels underneath, was it New York, and 200 Marines lost their lives because of this. So yeah, I'm seeing that what's leading the way and who is causing the timeline collapses and the pressure on this world is key white hat leadership. Can you hear me now? Testing, testing, testing. Can you hear me now? Yeah, okay. So it looked like my laptop actually muted me. Text me if you can hear me now. No sound still. Okay. Can you hear me now? Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. Yes, you can hear me now? Can you hear me now? Oh, goodness gracious. As I started talking about the Page of Cups, the people that are this tiny, the young ones, okay? This microphone cuts off. 5 by 5. Okay, so let's save that topic for later. We're not going to go into anything having to do with rescue, okay? Join my membership if you are interested in talking about the deep topics and the rabbit holes. All right. Maybe I should have done my little identification of entities and thought forms, and we live and learn. I can't see the comments in real time. I didn't realize that earlier. Oh, interesting. Okay, let me try this. If you are watching on Rumble, okay, go ahead and I'm only reading comments from the YouTube chat. So I'm hoping I shared a YouTube link there at the bottom of the Rumble chat. But I might be able to see it on Rumble as well too. So go ahead and try and we'll see. Okay, let's do the normies. We know that something is collapsing on the global scale when it comes to the timeline of world peace. We're at a choice point of choosing the energy. This is what I was sharing with you when we were all muted. I was saying that I see like the energy of all the light workers, you and I, that did the manifestation on Lionsgate Portal, and we had those solar flashes at the beginning of August, and we had the Schumann resonance in the second week of August, or the first week of August, actually. The solar flares, the Schumann resonance, the Lionsgate portal, and it's like our world leaders are sitting, okay, and they have all this consciousness expanded, this quantum field of light that the light community has brought down to Earth. And now all of a sudden, they're like peace talks, okay? You think that's random. They now have a choice point because we have literally manifested in, without realizing it, we have manifested in a new timeline energy, and new earth energy, a world peace energy. And now our world leaders are here feeling the rush, feeling the intensity. And they're like, world talks, humanitarian aid to Gaza. We need to do something about the people starving. We need to sit down with the R country and the U country. In Alaska, which is amazing that it's in Alaska, because I do believe Alaska is magical. We need to do something, okay? And they're feeling the energy of this intensity that's like pressuring them. Are you going to align with New Earth? Like E.T. phone home. Are you going to align? And you need to choose now, because if you don't choose now, you're going to be left behind. And I feel like we as the people of light have given our world leaders an ultimatum. That's how I feel. And I haven't even been following anything online. I just feel this energy of the galactics have seen the cry of many of us starseeds on Earth and says, let's bring in so much energy, consciousness to the Earth and give the world a choice point. And I said all that in response to Shauna's comment, which the sound was out. This week seems critical somehow. All right, so let's go ahead and see about the normies, the unawake. And it's not bad for them to be unawake or for them just to be, caught up in the normal world. It's not bad. It's just it's what they chose to come in on, okay? But is there a timeline collapse happening for the normies? And if so, what is arising in its place? The normal people, the sweet souls on earth that are truly wanting an earth experience but caught in the matrix. Spirit, what can you tell us? Yeah, we definitely have the card of being hidden, okay? A lot of information still hidden from them. We have the card of truth and control. And what they're facing right now is a lot of different kinds of information, and they're seeking the truth. It's almost like they're being bombarded. We have here in the past the Knight of Swords, which is a lot of information coming fast. A lot of information coming really fast at them. And then we have in the future the card of lies and deception. So what is collapsing? What is arising for the normal person? Queen of Pentacles, they're focused on their own house. Ace of Cups, but the consciousness is coming in, and the Three of Swords. And where the energy is coming in that's causing them to awaken is some of the betrayal that's happening that they see on the world scale. They see betrayal. I want to get clarity. Is this a world scale betrayal, or is this the normies just coming up with challenges? Okay, it's going to be different for every person. We have the blank card, but we also have this Fool energy, and this is a forced timeline shift. Okay? With this Fool card, the stepping out, the first card in the deck, with this Ace of Cups is a forced timeline shift. They don't have a choice, and they're completely unaware of it. What's going to happen in their life is things in their normal everyday home life, their job life, is going to start being cut away. And if anything is toxic, if anything is not for their best and highest good, it's going to be like a scalpel digging it up to the surface. They're going to have to face it. What Spirit is showing me here is two things. They're dealing one on the mental scale with so much information on the world level, but if they can't see it or aren't interested in it, okay, if they're not interested in watching the news at all, if they can't see any of the chaos because they're totally on their own little home life level, if they're not going to shift with the news, and because of the news, I should say, what's going to happen is their home life is going to start collapsing if there's toxicity in it. And I don't mean major collapses like, major upheavals. I'm just saying if there's a relationship that's been ignoring a problem, they're going to have to start facing that problem, to start discussing it. Little things like that. If their job is draining their energy, they're going to have to face that energy drain and come to how can I change my life for the better? But this is definitely without their choice. They are going to be in the middle of a timeline shift, and they have no choice about it. I feel that they're on the roller coaster of what we, the light workers, choose and bring in, and what the world leaders choose and bring in. I see those as the leaders. And the normies, they're going to be okay. They're going to follow the shift. They're going to follow the timeline. They're not the manifestors of our new reality. Calamity Jane says, I hear this is the last shift. No more resets. We are getting it right this time. That resonates with me so much. I have been getting this left behind, and like, here's the time. We're bringing in new earth. And anyone who is dark and wants to stay in their darkness, they're going to be left behind. I don't know what that means. And I definitely get that the normies, though, are going to be okay. They're going to come with us. We are the manifestors of this reality. Okay, let's change decks and ask about us, the light workers, the star seeds, those who are Desiring a new earth to come in. What is collapsing in our life and what timeline is arising? What is collapsing in our life as light people? Haha, justice is coming in. Got the justice card. Soulmates, soul tribes, opportunities, new steps, and we have strategies coming in. Something about our work, our destiny, our home life. We're getting interesting. A few more cards. I'm feeling a few more cards here because I want to get the full picture because I think a lot is happening. Choices, past, expansion. Okay. So the energy coming in right off the bat is the Justice card concerning work, economy, and our interactions with money. Okay. Justice concerning work, money, and finance. And I'm getting everything from economy, everything that affects our money and affects how we work. Look how this man is actually working and he's building his coins and he's putting his coins up on the wall. Those are pentacles. They represent matter, resources, health, money, currency. They represent the things that we need in our 3D world to live successfully and abundantly. And he's working very, very happily and steadily. But then we have justice concerning that. Justice concerning our economy. What a unique blend of cards. The energy in the past is we've already passed through a portal. We've already made the step. Here, this angel has the world in its hand and is stepping forward into a new beginning. This is the card of 2, 2, 2. Okay. Underneath this card is another 2. So this is alignment. And this is alignment with souls. The alignment with soul energy, our soul purpose, soul alignment. It could even be soul mates or soul partners, soul friends, soul tribe alignments. It's aligning with who we are on a consciousness and truly high vibrational emotional level. Okay, I then had the card of opportunities and money. I just see this angel handing out a coin. Okay. Opportunities or money is coming your way, light worker. Justice concerning what was stolen. Justice concerning what was taken. Justice. And then there's also going to be strategies, which is going with the opportunity. So this isn't just money being handed out. This is actually strategies to make our lives better. Strategies coming in to lessen the way how expensive our resources are, to lower inflation or to increase our buying and spending ability. You know what I'm saying? This could be a decrease in prices, a decrease in inflation. I'm definitely seeing money being handed out, okay? But I'm also seeing strategies to make our economy easier. That's just what I'm getting. The last 3 cards I pulled was a choice from the past, okay? And then expansion. So this is for the light worker. And this energy from the past is coming in. A choice from the past. A choice from the past to expand. Temperance and healing. The Queen of Cups, more healing. And then also some sort of stress in this world. Bringing healing to the stress in this world. Is this stress in the world or is this personal stress here? It's stress. It's being a helper. Okay, that's what it is. Choosing to be a helper. I misunderstood that card. Many different avenues in the world for us to relieve the stress of confusion in others, the stress of chaos, bringing healing and balance to other worlds, other communities, other people, other chaos. So I said all of that to say, I believe many of us are going to become the humanitarian type people that we have been dreaming that we want to be. I'm getting a lot of humanitarian things here, but on a personal level. You being able to help people the way you have always dreamed to help. This is the mentor energy, and this is also your plans from the past to choose. Wealth management, how to manage your wealth. This is how to manage how you serve humanity. This is expanding across the world, international travel, international peace, bringing in the expansion of your resources to such a degree that you actually have the money to help others. The light worker is in a timeline right now, where you are considered on a quantum level a healer of humanity. And whether you do it through your spiritual gifts or your financial gifts, the light worker is on a timeline. We've already collapsed the old one. I'm not seeing anything of an old timeline, except the past card is we've already stepped out of it. We are on a timeline of financial abundance, but it's not just money. It's literally the strategies we're going to receive to be able to facilitate wealth. Wealth facilitators, healing facilitators. Opportunities are coming in. Justice for our resources. Wow, what a timeline. What a timeline. Okay. Let's go ahead now and ask. I still have about 20 minutes here, and we have to do the intel. We have to get to the intel here. Spirit, anything else you want to tell us about timeline collapsing and our global shift? I have those cards that fell out. Thank you. We have the Magician card and the King of Cups. Manifesting your reality. Manifest how you want to feel, how you want to operate, what will make you happy. Staying in a place of emotional peace and manifesting that peace. Manifesting what you want your life to look like. The Magician card and the King of Cups. The Magician card uses all the spiritual tools. The swords, his mind. The pentacles, his resources. The cups, his emotions and consciousness and desires. And the wands, his ability to manipulate and use energy for good. This is actually about serving his new reality and operating in his new reality with everything. The element of earth, the element of air, the element of water, and the element of fire, which represent earth, resources, air, your mind, your thoughts, information, water, your emotions, your desires, your consciousness, and fire, your passions, your actions, and your activity on an energetic level. So this is us as the magicians coming in. And then this is the King of Cups, which is we remain emotionally stable. Regardless of what happens on the world scale, we will continually manifest world peace, love, and the good of humanity. Justin says, real life is not about money. Exactly. You are the queens and kings. Pick up your stars. Start moving forward. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So now, several signs of your timeline is collapsing. I listened to a video Richard sent me about quantum shifting, and I really, really appreciated that. So thank you. Signs your timeline is collapsing. Number one, sometimes you feel confused. And this I've felt at the beginning of the first week of August. I've been trying to do some manifestations for my new reality. And when I started that, and I actually went through a state of like, who am I? And you can sometimes feel like, why am I even here on this earth? Or you can go through feelings of confusion, loss of identity, loss of concrete reality, loss of which way should I go next? I thought I wanted this, but instead I might want this. So that little bit of confusion is okay. It will balance out, but that is a sign that your timeline is changing. Your reality is changing. Number 2, another sign your timeline is collapsing, a detachment or a disinterest, where you were involved in certain things and then all of a sudden you lose interest. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to bring that with you in the new timeline. It's just that you, at this time, you lost interest in that reality because that energy was keeping you in that timeline. And now you have to rebalance out and reestablish interest in whatever your new timeline is. So that disinterest or detachment is very normal. You're like, wait, I thought I was going to do this. I thought I was going to do YouTube videos on this. And then all of a sudden I'm not interested in that. I want to do YouTube videos on that. You kind of have to go with the flow and be okay with feeling like certain things leave and certain things coming in. I promise you it will balance out again. Number 3, event changes that happen without your doing anything. And this could be things that once were working. It could be that you were investing in a certain thing and all of a sudden your investment stops. It could be you were going to the gym and then all of a sudden you can't go to the gym at that time anymore because you have to do this with your family member. And it's like little events happening. I used to be able to, go to my restaurant here, but all of a sudden they're closing. It's like, what? My schedule, and your schedule gets out of line. The events in your day start changing. So anything having to do with events and circumstances, you just see them like either drift away. And then people leaving your life, sign number 4. Sometimes people will leave. And this could be something very innocent, like your coworker says, I'm getting another job. And all of a sudden you get a new coworker in. That's a timeline shift. It could be that your family member moves away. It could even be an argument and you're like, I really don't want to be with this person anymore. And you're like, I just feel like we need to take a break in our friendship. That's a timeline shift and it's okay. It's okay. So I needed to research this and I learned about it in the video, which was an encouragement for me because I actually had, I think, 3 to 4 out of these things happen this week. Yeah. Signs that your timeline is arising is you get, number 1, you get clarity on what you really want. And you set your commitment toward what you really want. That is you establishing your timeline. It's not even arising at this point. It's you choosing your timeline. Commitment versus confusion. And they can go side by side sometimes. And they can take a while to come in. But commitment versus confusion. Declaration and determination versus disinterest and detachment. Declaration, I am going to go this way. And determination. Nope, I'm setting my sights here. Event changes without your doing. Things start happening, or even event changes that you choose. Say, you know what? I want to do this, but I don't want to do that. That is actually you shifting your timeline. And then you choosing certain people to remain in your life keeps them in your timeline as well. And sometimes new people come in as well. So that's good. Hello, KL. How are you? Get the ego out, absolutely. But those small shifts have been happening our whole lifetime. They don't sound like timeline shifts. Exactly. They have been happening our whole timeline. Our whole life, but the whole world hasn't been shifting either. So like the whole world has been like on one timeline. And then our timelines go into like a little universal splits within the timeline of Mother Earth. But right now, Mother Earth is switching timelines. So we're like have maybe an increase of little shifts like that to actually shift with her. Does that make sense? Like she's shifting a timeline. She's like, we're in the middle of Nasara, Jasara, world peace, change. What are we going to choose? And as we shift our little timelines, it is going to anchor us into her full timeline. Now, how do we know that there's a major timeline shift? Let me tell you this. You don't want a major timeline shift. A major timeline shift is when you don't listen, or I don't listen to the voice of God. When God was telling me to get out of this certain situation and I wasn't listening. And because of that, I got the biggest betrayal and the biggest hurt and the biggest pain of my entire life. A big timeline shift, you will lose people galore, like a whole community of people. I've been through a huge timeline shift. It's not fun. It is like you lose your entire family. I incarnated into this life to go to a family that was something like a cult. My dad would not go to any of the other churches, but he claimed to be a church leader. My father was very anti-woman. He didn't believe women should go to higher education or college. He believed we should wear skirts and head coverings. He believed that we couldn't wear makeup or cut our hair. He believed that women shouldn't vote unless they vote according to the way their husbands or father tell them. And he also believed women could not work in the workplace. I grew up in a major cult, okay? I timeline shifted out of that, and it cost me my entire family. And my dad gave me an ultimatum and said, if you don't want to believe this anymore, get out of the house. And I chose to get out of the house. And then he shunned us. And he still won't have anything to do with me and my younger brother and sister. He didn't allow us to speak to our mom for 7 years until we finally convinced her to leave him. But we were ostracized from our family, me, my younger brother and sister, for about 7 years, and harassed by him too. Eventually, like, we just had to like ignore everything, and I had to start a new life. That is a timeline shift, and it brought trauma, it brought grief. And I actually went through it because I was still part of a church where they believed in not cutting hair, but it was more of a social church, you know. But you couldn't cut hair, you couldn't wear makeup, you had to wear skirts, and I'm like, I don't believe this anymore. But because this religious community believed this is what God wants, I was shunned, or I was kind of like ostracized the moment I started wearing pants and wearing makeup and cutting my hair. And oh God, it would be a sin to wear a sleeveless shirt. But I'm grateful for those realities. But the moment I came out of them, I lost everyone. And not only do you lose them, but it's like they look at you with disdain. So that's a major timeline shift. And I mean, to do a major timeline shift, you can bring your family with you, okay? But if they're not willing to go to so like if we take a little step, like a 1-layer step, your family can come with you. But if you want to go to a timeline that's way over here, totally different, okay, doing tarot readings on YouTube in a sleeveless shirt with jewelry and makeup, which was totally considered backslidden and sinful in that church. It cost me a lot of grief and trauma. So that is a timeline shift that I don't wish on anyone. Calamity Jane says, you have a new family. I have joined a new family, and you don't know how much I love being with you here. And I just lost all your comments. I apologize. Your words have power. Absolutely. And say it in the name of love and believe it and leave it alone. Okay. I see like we control our world where we can, and that change is, yes, a timeline shift. Maybe yes, too. It moves the collective timeline. I agree with you. I think as more and more people learn how to kind of like manifest their reality, it's also like shifting the new earth. You create your future. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's still a little hard for me to share my backstory, but I think that I need to learn how to share it more. How old were you at the time? I was 21. My brother was 17. My sister was 18. Yeah, I did. I'm glad I followed my intuition too. Yeah, I hope you and your siblings and your mother are all still in contact. That is so incredible. Yes, it is. And it's one of the reasons why it's still one of the reasons why I take like cleansing and breaking contracts, cleansing, doing a lot of the shadow work so seriously, is because I had to come out of a lot of trauma. And so like cleansing the DNA, the Break the Curse webinar that I'm doing at the end of the month, things like that is something that I've been doing for about 5 years now. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to manifest my reality. The shadow work is over. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have just a few minutes left. We are going to be doing the financial prediction update here at 12:15. I have some financial intel to share there, and we're going to do things for the month of August and September. And we're going to look a little bit at gold, silver, crypto, the stock market, insider. No, we're not going to do insider trading. We already did that. They're already in trouble, but we have some intel as well. But I want to share to you some of the intel that I can share with you on YouTube. And this is from Simon Parks. Please go to connectingconsciousness.org. If you like everything from aliens to gathering together with people who love rabbit holes to talking about awakening and ascension, Simon Parks creates different people groups around the world. They're in many nations across the world, okay? And then you get emails and announcing when a meeting is in your area. And you can meet people that are just as crazy as I am. Okay, what's happening with Nasera and Jasera? I'm going to give that intel. I'm not going to try not to keep it at all political, okay, because I don't want to trigger YouTube again. Okay, Nasera and Jasera. The African countries that are rising forward are Zimbabwe. And then Zimbabwe has been chosen as one of the leading countries to work with the white hats to help lead the way in new earth technology, new earth financing, and leading the way for the African countries to rise up out of a third world. Okay, Zimbabwe is right on track to working with new earth energies, new earth white hats, new earth ways of doing things. South Africa is actually one of the least countries to work in with the white hats. South Africa is struggling. South Africa's ego is struggling. And I've heard that from a few other mystics who live in that area as well. They say they have seen a vision of darkness being exposed in the African country. They saw it start in South Africa, and just all the crud of politics, all the crud of corruption just like started in South Africa, being exposed, of course. It's already there, but it was exposed there, and then it spread throughout the nation. Throughout the continent. The other countries that are in track along with Zimbabwe leading the way are Zambia and Ghana. Once they see the good things happening, they're going to get on board. South Africa is challenged, Anti-Gravity says. Yes. And I think that they have entities there that are trying to keep the division there. When you see the different types of partidism, but it's basically what the U.S. has had, the division between the color. I don't want to use the R word, but anything dividing us through color normally is given by a spiritual dark plan or a spiritual blueprint or a spiritual entity, because humans naturally love other humans, okay? But that's a plan. That is the sign that there's a lot of division. Of course, it's throughout the whole world. Anything trying to divide. So Zimbabwe is leading the way. One of the things that's happening on the world scale is talks are actually happening to eliminate national debt. And that's something very few truthers and very few commentators, and of course the mainstream media, are not reporting. And when Mr. T or these countries sit down with each other, they're actually being given an opportunity to eliminate national debt. And I'll go more into that in the financial live, because I can't talk about that fully here, and I don't want to mention political leaders. The tariffs is part of a new world structure to shift us into the new world. And what it's doing is giving countries the ability to make their own sovereign decisions. The white hats are using tariffs to actually give nations a choice. We're in a tremendous choice point. The tariffs are giving nations a choice. And what the white hats are doing they're giving the nations a choice of, are you going to work for the good of your country and humanitarian efforts? And if so, we're going to give you low tariffs. And if you are going to be knock in the head, a hard-headed rock, and you're still egoic, we're going to raise the tariffs. So this is actually a white hat blueprint or a galactic blueprint, the tariffs. Okay, a lot of it we see in the political realm, like certain political leaders are leading the way. It's actually a galactic blueprint. Some countries, another country, I should say, not working with the white hats is Brazil. Because they are still imprisoning one of the leaders or going after them politically, and there's been fraud in the V situations and everything like that. Chemtrails, and we'll end on this. Chemtrails. I hope Kenya will arise. I think Kenya will arise. I have heard several people talking about the wealth within Kenya and how beautiful they are. And Swaziland? Is that a country in Africa? They were brutal on the farmers. Yeah, I think you're talking about Brazil, right? Okay, chemtrails. One of the reasons why the stock market, the crypto markets, and the tariffs, keep going up and down on the world scale. This is so fascinating to me. Is being done intentionally. And this is why I could not get accurate predictions. The tariff up and down, they keep changing. The stock market keeps changing, or if it is, it's under some sort of other control. And then the crypto market, some of the things are changing. And what Simon Parkes mentioned was that it's being done on purpose by the white hats. Because before, the dark elite controlled the markets, all the markets. And when they wanted money to fund transferring, money to fund chemtrails, money to fund any of their organizations, they could manipulate the market, take out a big win, and boom, they would have their money. All the funds are drying up because the white hats are in charge of the markets. And they are intentionally letting the markets go up and down because to create a little bit of havoc, so that the dark elite and their forces will not know how much money they will have or how much money they will make. And because they have no guarantee of funds, because the market's up and down, up and down, up and down, they can no longer fund the chemtrails. They can no longer fund their organizations. They can no longer fund the A organization that burns things during riots. Okay? They can no longer fund their protests because the market is so up and down. I laughed when I saw that. So I think that's why when I started to do some financial updates and predictions with Spirit's like, just stop. From the end of September, we're going to have a totally different timeline when it comes to all of this stuff. So yeah, that's some of my intel. And there's still a little bit more about the militaries that I'll share in the financial live as well. I just don't want to trigger another AI glitch. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. For those who want to join me in 15 minutes on the channel, the Calamity Jane says the cabal is bankrupt. Yes, and as a result, we're getting clear skies and a little bit more stable weather. Thank God, among a whole host of other things. Exciting times. Exciting times. Yes, if you're watching this on the replay, please go ahead and comment. That really helps. I would love to see what you think about this. Or if you disagree, that is perfectly fine. I welcome it all. I will be on the financial update here in about 15 minutes. And until then, I wish you all the best. You are on a beautiful timeline. We're creating it together. And there's no group of people that I want to create this timeline or this new earth with. So thank you so much. Have a blessed coming week. Who knows what will happen?